You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-Mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-Mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borg. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Wednesday, 17th day of December. Thanks for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. Do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. First broadcast is our live training room. That one's private. You got to be a member or taking the 1-week free trial to get in there. This broadcast is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth, internet-connected device. 2 different ways to join this afternoon broadcast live. Best way, you only have to do it once. From mytradingiq.com, scroll down the page to where it says Noon Broadcast. Click the link, fill out the 30-second registration form, and you're done. What will happen going forward is every trading day, you get an email about an hour before this broadcast starts. Email, there will be a link. 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email, and it will automatically log you into our platform. Benefit there is you'll immediately have access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in discussion. Of course, there will be days you're out of the office, away from the desktop, but you still want to join live. Some days you'll be busy, so you can't join live, but you want to get caught up later. Both of those via our YouTube channel, which is easy to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. It's the Christian Financial Radio Network since 2005. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, as we're doing right now, we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there's over 2,900 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. YouTube.com/CF On the left side of the screen is the schedule for each afternoon broadcast. So we're going to dive right into our daily devotional. That's where we start each and every afternoon. The topic we're on right now, in day 3 of 5, Great Expectations, Rediscovering Hope of Advent. Scripture today is Luke 2, verses 13 through 14, and I'll share it with you from the Message translation. Once the angel was joined by a huge angelic choir singing God's praises. Glory to God in the heavenly heights. Peace to all men and women on earth. Again, that was Luke 2, verses 13 through 14. Second Sunday of Advent is the Sunday of Peace. During Advent, we celebrate expectations for God's redemption. We celebrate love and peace and joy, and one of the reasons we celebrate peace is because of the marvelous words said by the angels at the time of the birth of Jesus. In Luke 2:14, we read, "Suddenly a great company of the heavenly host appeared with the angel, praising God and saying, 'Glory to God in the highest. On earth, peace to those on whom his favor rests.'" During Advent, we celebrate the expectation of peace that comes through Jesus, the Messiah. And this is a time in history when we have so much expectation for peace because of the tragedies in our world. Wars around the globe between nations, or even wars within nations, within political parties. We have battles that are taking place between the church and the state, between one group of Christians and another group of Christians. We have strife and tension in individual churches. Some Christians are just not getting along. And as they celebrate Advent, begin to celebrate the coming of the Messiah, both in his first Advent and his second Advent, that tension will become to them obvious, maybe an opportunity for them to make peace. There are tensions and strife within families, neighborhoods, communities. Christians during Advent celebrate the peace that comes through the Messiah. Christians have the opportunity, so it seems to me, to be agents of peace in their families, in their communities, neighborhoods, in their churches, and their nations, agents of peace for the whole. Our expectations for peace that we celebrate at Advent leads us to think about Jesus as the Prince of Peace. That celebration of the angels when Jesus was born expressed expectations, promises, and hopes from the book of Isaiah. Jesus himself became an agent of peace, and he teaches his disciples in one of the most famous Beatitudes of all in Matthew 5:9. Blessed are the peacemakers. Jesus himself was a peacemaker, but he expected his disciples to be agents of peace in their communities, their families, and in relationships with one another. Jesus enters Jerusalem in his last week. Read some pretty significant words in Luke 19. Jesus, after having controversies and discussions and debates, maybe it spilled over into arguments with the leaders in Jerusalem surrounding the temple. He leaves Jerusalem and he makes these words: "If you, even you, had only known on this day what would bring you peace." Jesus knew what would bring them peace, but he perceived they were not receiving peace he was offering. Peace becomes central in the New Testament. As one of the great writers about the New Testament said, peace happens to be the missing piece when it comes to early Christian ethics and understanding them in New Testament theology. Peace was important. The Gospel of John tells us that Jesus promised them that they would have peace, inner peace. Peter, when he's preaching a sermon in Acts 10, tells them that this is the summary of the teachings of Jesus, that he brought the gospel of peace, preached peace, which was peace between people, peace between different Jewish groups, peace between his groups and those groups, and peace between Jews and Gentiles. As Peter preached this gospel. Peace is not an alternative or a preference for Christians today. Peace should be at the heart of the way we live, talk, and what we preach. At Advent, we have the opportunity to celebrate peace. Peace that comes with God, Jesus. Peace that is Jesus as the Prince of Peace. Peace that is an ethnic why we live. And the peace that the apostles preached. The question we have to ask during this Advent is whether we are people of peace, whether our message is a message of peace. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for the gift of Jesus. It brings peace to the earth and goodwill to our hearts. Fill us with awe at your glory and let your peace reign in our lives today. May our lives reflect your love and bring praise to your name. It's in Jesus' name we believe, pray. Everybody said, Amen and happy Wednesday. Give you the numbers around the start here in the U.S. with the cash markets or the indices as they're to see if we can fix it. Yeah, there it comes. All right, numbers from around the world. Starting here in the U.S. with the cash markets or the indices as currently the Dow down 114 points. NASDAQ down 278. It's almost 1.25%. S&P 500 down 50. Russell 2000 down 10. In the commodity basket, oil up 93 cents, trading 56.21 last. That's a gain of 1.3%. Mentioned yesterday as we went through the charts, crude had already hit the lowest weekly trading zone peak. That happens on a Tuesday morning quite often. That market will be at the other end of the spectrum by the end of the week. So, got a decent start here. Gold's up $30, trading 4,361.40 last. Silver up $3.13, trading 66.40 last. It's a gain of almost 5%. Asian markets at the close. Nikkei posted a gain of 128 points. Shanghai rose 45, it's 1.25%. The Hang Seng gained 200, almost percent. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE up 89, DAX down 116, CAC down. So that gave us green day in Asia. It was a mixed day. It's definitely a big red Radio Wednesday here in the US of A. Look at the global news. Australian authorities yesterday said Sunday's mass shooting at Bondi Beach, a Hanukkah event which killed at least 15 people, was a terrorist attack motivated by Islamic State ideology. Police recovered 2 homemade Islamic State flags from the car of the suspects, a 50-year-old Indian man and his 24-year-old Australian-born son. The son, Naveed Akram, was hospitalized with critical injuries, while his father, Sajid Akram, was fatally shot at the scene. Authorities had interviewed both men in 2019 regarding the son's potential extremist associations, but found no immediate threat. Last month, the pair traveled to the Philippines, where Islamic State militants are known to operate. The father was also a licensed firearm holder, prompting lawmakers to revisit gun control measures. And there's your problem right there. It's very difficult to own a firearm in Australia. This guy had a license for 6. Why is that? See, an armed society is a polite society. A lot of lives would have been saved that day if there had been ordinary citizens carrying licensed firearms. So it's obvious that their gun control laws are not stopping gun violence, so their solution is to revisit gun control measures. Not to loosen them, oh no, to tighten them. An online campaign has raised over $2.3 million for Ahmed Al-Ahmed, a Syrian-born fruit shop owner, disarmed one gunman before being shot by the other. Meanwhile, Australian blood banks reported nearly 50,000 appointments Monday, nearly double the previous daily record. Around the globe, negotiations kicked off yesterday in Las Vegas to determine how to divide the Colorado River Basin's shrinking water supplies. Any outcome will have implications for more than 40 million residents relying on the river to power cities, farms, and companies, including resource-heavy data centers and semiconductor businesses. A decades-long drought, the worst in 1,200 years, has pushed Hoover Dam's Lake Mead to historic lows. The federal government aims to cut 4 million acre-feet of water usage per year to reduce strain. An acre-foot equals 1 acre covered by 12 inches of water. However, the 7 states, Arizona, California, Colorado, Nevada, New Mexico, Utah, and Wyoming, have repeatedly reached an impasse. 2 states, Arizona and Nevada, are swing states, adding political complexity to any steps lawmakers or the federal government take. The Interior Department has threatened to impose its own plan if states can't agree on a plan to manage the river after next year. The current arrangement expires. And turning back the clock, Jane Austen fans marked the English novelist's 250th birthday yesterday, celebrating the author whose sharp wit and class satire helped redefine the modern novel. Austen published 6 major works, including Emma and Pride and Prejudice. First 4 anonymously as by a lady, and the last 2 after her death at 41 credited to her name for the first time. Books have sold an estimated 30 million copies worldwide, Pride and Prejudice accounting for more than 20 million. Yet she earned less than $700 in her lifetime. Oh, I'm sorry. Roughly $67,000 based on today's money. She's often credited with popularizing the enemies to lovers trope and has inspired dozens of film and television adaptations, along with countless modern retellings, including Bridget Jones' Diary, Pride and Prejudice, and Clueless, Emma. Austen novels remain staples of literature and curricula worldwide. Commemorative events marking her birthday took place across the globe, particularly in the UK, where Austen-related tourism generates tens of millions of dollars. Turning to Wall Street. Federal Reserve Governor Chris Waller said today that he anticipates cutting interest rates further next year to shore up a job market. Labor market's telling you we should continue cutting the rates, Waller said during a conversation at the Yale University CEO Summit. We're not seeing a dramatic decline of the labor market going off a cliff, just kind of continuing to soften. So we can go at it at a moderate pace. Waller said he thinks the neutral level for the Fed's benchmark interest rate, a level aimed at neither boosting nor slowing economic growth, is below 3%. The Fed cut its federal funds rate last week to a target range 3.5% to 3.75%. I think probably maybe 50 to 100 basis points off neutral, he said. Still have some room. Things down. Waller's comments come after the FOMC signaled a potential pause on rate cuts as officials take stock of the economy. Median projection of the 19 members of the interest rate setting committee is for just one cut next year. Last week, Fed Chair Jerome Powell said, Fed funds rate is now within a broad range of estimates of its neutral value, and we are well positioned to wait to see how the economy evolves. Waller on Wednesday acknowledged that his colleagues are worried inflation could get stuck at current levels of around 3%, preventing the rate cut he favors. For his part, Waller acknowledged that inflation remains above the Fed's 2% goal, but said he believes it will start to decline in the next 3 to 4 months. No forces that are suggesting that inflation is going to take off again in 2026. If anything, tariff effects, whatever they may be, those will start coming off as a one-time price effect. So we're not going to see persistent inflation from it. He thinks inflation will come down in the first half of the year, something that he says the Fed could continue to cut rates on. There's no reason to keep rates high just because there's positive growth in the economy. That doesn't cause inflation per se. But because inflation is still up, we can take our time. We can just steadily kind of bring the policy rate down towards neutral and at the same time keep an eye on inflation. Waller is set to meet with President Trump this afternoon as he sits down for an interview. Consideration to be the next chair of the Fed. Thank God we're finally rid of Jerome Powell come next May. Still a long time off. He can do a lot of damage between now and then, but I pray he won't. And the president is going to speak to the nation tonight. Office. Stocks are down today as investors wait the latest data and Federal Reserve comments. Tech stocks under pressure as Oracle is sliding. Oracle is down 4.5%. After weeks in a data vacuum, Wall Street is trying to find a clear signal in a noisy November jobs report to pinpoint a path for interest rates next year. Markets are also waiting for the other data shoe to drop. Thursday, tomorrow, will be an update on consumer inflation month of November. In a clue to the path ahead, Fed Governor Chris Waller said the central bank still has scope to cut rates, hinting at 50 to 100 basis points of room. Another key policymaker, the New York Fed's John Williams, is speaking at a separate appearance. We'll see what the president has to say, if anything, about that topic tonight. I'm not sure what time the broadcast is, but quick Google. Reuters, Warner Brothers Discovery Board rejected Paramount Skydance's $108.4 billion hostile bid takeover on Wednesday, today, saying it failed to provide adequate financing assurances. In a letter to shareholders disclosed in a regulatory filing, the board wrote that Paramount had consistently misled Warner Brothers shareholders that its $30 per share cash offer was fully guaranteed, backstopped by the Ellison family, led by billionaire and Oracle CEO Larry Ellison. It does not and never has, the board guarantee of Paramount's offer, noting that the offer posed numerous significant risks. Now, Paramount is down today Warner Brothers is down 1.5%. Oracle's down 4%. Paramount Skydance is down 0.5%. Bloomberg, moderate House Republicans have revolted against Speaker Mike Johnson and joined with Democrats to force a vote in January on expiring Obama subsidies. Rebellion comes after Johnson blocked swing district Republicans from having a floor vote this week on their plan to tie a 1 or 2 year extension of the subsidies, cost-saving changes to the program. We exhausted nearly every option, according to New York Republican Mike Lawler. And we worked in good faith over these past many weeks to come to a compromise bill. Pushback, which follows months of wrangling on the issue, is too late to stop a spike in premiums. More than 20 million Americans, COVID era subsides. Subsidies expire on December 31st. But it will at least force the House to vote on the matter before it ends on January. Billionaire investor Dalio will help fund the Trump administration's investment accounts for certain children in Connecticut. Treasury Secretary Bessent statement today as another firm vowed to match employee contributions. Ray Dalio's commitment is part of an effort to secure additional outside donors in every U.S. state. 20 other U.S. states are considering adding state funds to the federally seeded accounts. Bessent said at an event on the program for children born between 2025 and 2028. The initiative was created this year under President Donald Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act and has sparked a scramble by financial firms looking to participate. U.S. Treasury will deposit $1,000 into investment accounts for all children born between 2025 and 2028. Separately, investment firm BlackRock on Wednesday became the latest company to say they would match the U.S. government's $1,000 contribution for its employees. Charter Communications, BNY, Block, Uber, Visa, and MasterCard are also supporting the accounts, according to the administration. Entrepreneur Michael Dell and his wife Susan have also said they would donate another $250 into the accounts of 25 million American children in a $6.25 billion philanthropic pledge backing the initiative. What happens to the kids born in 2009? Are the ones born in? I guess they missed the boat. It's a pretty narrow window. Tesla investors rallied to start the week, and for good reason. Dream of becoming shareholders in an autonomous fleet just inch closer to reality. Shares of the electric vehicle company, aspiring to be an AI and robotics powerhouse, rose to their highest level all year, matching prices not seen since last December, after CEO Elon Musk confirmed that robotaxi testing is underway without a safety driver in the front passenger seat of vehicles. Tesla rose 4% Monday and 3% Tuesday, eclipsing the record high it reached nearly a year ago. Donald Trump was newly elected for his second term, and optimism surged around Tesla's autonomous missions. And Tesla's down 2.25% on what should be perceived as AI programs can help developers automate certain tasks, reducing the time needed to piece together software. But those same benefits also apply to hackers looking for cheap and quick ways to break into enterprise, governmental, and private computer networks to steal data, spy on rival nations, or extract ransom payments from everyone. Tom Goldstein, a professor of computer science, said, "I think we are entering into a new area of security. We're in a really turbulent time where things are changing rapidly. And in the short term, it certainly seems to be the case that these new AI-based tools are a bigger advantage to the attackers than they are to the defenders." Remember, Anthropic reported that a Chinese state-sponsored group Claude coding tool orchestrate a large-scale cyber espionage campaign. According to the company, the attackers manipulated our Claude code tool into attempting infiltration into roughly 30 global targets and succeeded in a small number of cases. Targets included large tech companies, financial institutions, chemical manufacturing companies, and government agencies. Earlier this month, OpenAI released its own report indicating that it believes its coding platforms pose a high level of cybersecurity risk. Cybersecurity professionals are using the same technology to find potential vulnerabilities in software and patch them, protect organizations against attacks. Still, just as hackers were ahead of defenders before the introduction of generative AI, now at least, bad guys continue to hold the lead. Got ahead the U.S. inflation data and monitored escalating tensions in Venezuela. Silver climbed to a fresh peak and platinum jumped to the highest since 2008. Gold bullion traded near 4,350 an ounce, recovering from a modest decline in the previous session, snapped a 5-day winning streak. Inflation numbers due tomorrow. Watch closely for clues on how the Federal Reserve's appetite for further rate cuts may be impacted. Ahead of the release, several key Fed officials are due to speak. I can hardly wait. America's waking up. After years of being told that gender is fluid, chromosomes are incidental, and that masculinity is toxic or obsolete, America is rediscovering a truth culture worked hard. Why matters. Crisis began the moment the why was dismissed. Influential voices turned identity into a do-it-yourself project, tracing the Y chromosome as a marker of manhood, blurred essential boundaries, and loosened every anchor that once helped boys grow. Time-tested anchors, family, faith, community, mentors, and clear expectations were discarded. In the name of compassion, boys were told that male and female were interchangeable, that fathers were optional, and that masculinity was either threatening or rich. And we're now living with the consequences of that idiocy. Boys are faltering, and a generation is stalling on the road to manhood. What we've offered our boys is not freedom, but vision is crippling. It produces faltering boys instead of faith. Nervous system without clarity is a nervous system in distress. That's not ideology. That's neuroscience. Young men today are slower to finish school, launch careers, get married, or start families than any generation in modern history. Millions of boys grow up without fathers. Boys and men consume pornography at neurological overload levels. Male suicide rates continue to climb, and a majority of young men say they feel directionless, discouraged, or unsure adulthood requires of them. Boys now have smartphones than fathers in the home, and young men are being shaped more by algorithms than by actual men. The problem has never been the presence of masculinity, it's been the absence of it. Confused culture produces confused boys. Confused boys become wounded boys and wounded men act out. What we often call toxic masculinity isn't masculinity at all. It's strength severed from love, power, detached from purpose. This isn't accidental. This is cause and effect. Just imagine, turn the clock back, pre-World War II. If this garbage was being pumped into the heads of our young men back then, what language do you think you'd be speaking now? Sure wouldn't be English, would it? Logic 247, 24/7 around the clock E-mini alert service. Not just E-minis, but also crude, gold, and silver. Currently in week 385. Over the last 385 weeks, we've issued over 21,200 individual handcrafted alerts. And what we've averaged on a weekly basis is 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on simple market structure and a simple process we teach all of our passport holders. Valerie made a slide there. Let me. All right. Since the markets opened Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, we issued a total of 28 logic alerts. Time Valerie did the recap this morning, we were still waiting on the outcome of 7. It gave us 21 actionable alerts, of which so far 5% have been stopped out. Again, based on simple market structure and a simple process we teach all of our passport holders. Now, the logic alerts are designed to help you read the chart. Never trade a logic alert, that's fine. Entirely up to you. But if you want to learn how to trade for a living, you better learn how to read the chart. Logic alerts are the best way I know for you to learn how to read a chart, how to understand what it's telling you, how to know where to anticipate resistance, where to anticipate support. In doing so, find the windows of opportunity that allow you to become consistently profitable. Logic alerts can come out anytime around the clock, 2 a.m., 2 p.m. Futures trade around the clock. We have traders around the globe. Our day session is their night session and vice versa. Again, be sure to use the logic alerts. If you remember, reason intended, teach you how and understand what the chart is trying to tell you. The answer doesn't lie out there somewhere. It lies within the market itself. It's in the chart. Now, 385 weeks is a long time, over 7 years. But years before we had a Logic 247, we had our original alert service, the concierge. Concierge trade alerts are different in a lot of different ways. But for the purpose of this discussion, I'll just say this. They don't come out around the clock. Published as a static report, typically 5 minutes ahead of the Globex Open each evening. Wednesday session we're in right now began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. 5 minutes ahead of the Open, all of our traders and even trial members had all of these targets 5 minutes before the market opened. The S&P 500, the Dow, the Russell, the NQ, gold, and silver. So when you see those targets drawn out on the individual charts as we go through them, just remember, traders had that information 5 minutes before. So we'll start. We always do. Daily chart. S&P. There we go. All right. If you're following along, see we've had a major development here. Now, I said yesterday if we break, number one, this rectangle which I drew back on, that was it Monday? I don't know. Anyway, it highlighted the bullish cross, which we expect to be good support. That's when the blue line gets above the green line. It's called a bullish cross. Have a bullish cross. First time price revisits that area, just like over here we had a bearish cross. Price reached the area of the bearish cross. It's good resistance. Sent the market down. And so here we had a bullish cross where the blue line gets above the green line. First time price revisits that area will almost always be support. And it was yesterday. It held the market up. But now that's the first time down. Repeated attempts seeing today has now taken that out. And we're just about to the other. Yesterday I gave you a number of spots where the market will potentially find support. Right here. See how you got this wick sticking up and this wick sticking down? Just put your cursor right between the two. So we'll call it conservatively 67.85. Anticipate support. Now, is it enough support to reverse the market? I don't know. But it might be good enough for a bounce. After that, we've got this low here. Then we've got right here where red turned to blue. And then this low. This low. Almost to this area right. That candle so far. 67.93 and a half. All right. All of the alerts are created on a 30-minute chart. The logic alerts and the concierge trade alerts. Vertical line separates today Wednesday, back here's Tuesday, back Tuesday. Horizontal lines are the weekly trading zones. They're published every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Last 16 years. Once the zones are published Monday morning, they're carved in stone for the entire week. Change in any way whatsoever. Price drops to a zone. we expect support till proven otherwise. Price rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance until otherwise. Here was the open last night, right at a weekly. Initially traded lower and got below blue and climbing. Almost made it to the short target by 7 o'clock. Didn't quite get there. Right here, step line crossed red and falling. That's that low right there. Hang on. So we basically consolidated at the zone, oscillating below and above. So then took off about 1 a.m. Eastern, heading into the London Open, 3 a.m. Eastern. About 4:30 this morning, long target. Conservative there. See, once price got to this area right here, that's where the resistance kicked in. Now, as price consolidated sideways, blue and climbing got directly above price. That happens, it often becomes resistance because it's on its way to becoming red and falling, which is bearish. Notice how black step line and red and falling have ran parallel to each other. This entire move down. Biggest move happening right here at 10:30 this morning. Okay. Dropped basically from zone to zone. Zone 6803/6804. Now, price has been consolidating sideways at the zone. Again, only one of three things happens when price encounters a zone. 70% of the time, it's consolidation. 20% of the time, rejection. 10% of the time, slice. Sitting right on top of 6803. Already spiked through it 2 times. The fact that we have these wicks pointing to the downside is an indication price really wants to higher. So watch for the black step line to cross to the right side of red and falling. Should see price retrace back to the BBC. Price always reverts to the mean. In our case, the mean is green. It's called the BBC. Stands for bullish. Price is below the green line. We're bearish and expect lower prices. As price crosses back above the green line and expect higher prices. Higher prices. Simple. Keep in mind the pullback to the BBC holds more. Here's the open last night, 6 p.m. Eastern. And by 7 o'clock, we had dropped to the short target. Spiked it just a little. Then we came back up to the zone, consolidated, got above the BBC, back held, another leg and a retracement, and the pull held. Right there is the 9:30 Wall Street Open candle sent us all the way up to the long, which was based off of the bearish cross from yesterday. That's when the red line gets below the green line. Have a bearish cross that leads to an extended move. time price revisits that area will almost always be resistance. It certainly was. That resistance will always send the market looking for support. It initially found at the short target, bouncing us back up to the zone /45. Now, price discovery mode. Today, this was yesterday's low right here. $48,313. And today's low so far, about to break, 48,305. Already taken out yesterday's low. Lowest weekly zone for this week, 7,575. And markets, look, see it. Back to the bell in just a minute. All that red and falling, chasing price. It's easy to see price being here. Or here by the end of now, we do have some important economic news tomorrow that possibly change the trajectory of the market. Just have to see. Okay. So we opened last night right at the zone, and by 7 o'clock we have a short target. I need to get your goal for today. Support will always send the market looking for resistance. Initially we found it here at the zone. We consolidated, continued on up to the target. Leg, got a retracement, back held, back holds, not. Sent us up to the weekly zone overhead at 2558/59. Spiked it, closed well below it. That began 10:30 to the downside. Really crippled them. Now we have low at 25.21. Tick. Now price is headed back. Again, with these, if this candle closes with a tick below it, I would suggest prices is going to head higher. Time price come down, it gets rejected. It comes lower and gets rejected. Again, it gets rejected. The question is, how much longer? At some point, institutional traders on the buy side are just going to say, you know what? Can't keep throwing good money after bad. So they'll hit pause on the buy side. This thing, this weekly zone is down here at 24.52/50. See it. The NQ opened here last night. Back to the BTC, the pullback held. So we got a leg and a retracement and a leg that took us right up to the long. The high, as you can see, now this is Wednesday, Tuesday. This high is right here, Wednesday. That capped this action today. We hit the zone, got a nice bounce. That's rejection. Three things happen: consolidation, rejection, and the slice. And we sliced right through that 1030 move. all the way through the short target. Now here we are consolidating at the zone. Again, notice these wicks to the downside indicate price really wants to move higher. It's going to take institutional traders committing to the buy side to change trajectory. If the black step line crosses red and falling, we should see a retracement back to the BC. Oil, I mentioned yesterday, we were already at the lowest weekly /54.90, and that by the end of the week we should see a rally, and we did. Right up last night, 7 o'clock, we hit it. Retracement, finally got above it. Topside hill, then we hit the zone. 655/60, pretty much to the tick, right inside of it. Now we've come back and found support once again at the top side of the long target, and see. So when I come back, Michael is here. He's going to give us a recap of what happened in the last, and then do some live trading as time permits. I'll come back, finish the recap, and close things up with our.
All right, here we go.
It's good.
All right, here we go. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Wednesday, the 17th day of December, 2025. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com and click on the purple button right here. There's no credit card required for this trial. Just click on that purple button and it will bring you to this registration page. All right, on this page, all that we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number down at the bottom. Make sure you give us a TradingView login ID. If you don't have one of those yet, click on this right here. Click on that right there. All right, if you click on that, then well, then we'll know that you took the free trial, and we'll be able to set up your indicators and get your indicators indicating on your desktop. Wow, I had a stall right there in my thinking, my train of thought. We'll get your indicators indicating on your desktop. All right, so we had a wild day today in the room, and just a ton of trades, ton of stop outs, ton of everything. But we ended up plus $1,700 after it all. Most of it on the NQ, almost all of that on the NQ. Yeah, $180. Well, I guess, yeah, $180 was not on the NQ. And anyway, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you have to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. So today we're up 358 ticks on the NQ. We're minus 34 on the YM. We were plus 18 on gold and minus 8 on the S. Now, the 358 is not the high for the day on the NQ. The high was 363. Minus 34 on the YM is not the low on the YM. The low on the YM was minus 46, and the high on the YM was plus 5. The gold, 18 is the high of the day on the gold. So the gold is the only one that ended at the high of the day. The low on the day on gold, however, was minus 16 was the low on the day on gold. The ES minus 8 was not the high of the day on the ES. The high of the day on the ES was 0. And yeah, we were minus 10, then minus 20, then minus 16, then minus 2. Then minus 12, then minus 4, then 0, then minus 10, and then minus 8. Okay, and so it was a lot of trading. It was wild this morning. We took 7 minutes and 4 trades this morning to get to $160 with 1 contract, or $1,600 with 10, and we took 66 trades this morning. I don't think that's the largest. I think we've had some in the 70s, some days in the 70s here. I don't know when. Okay, so 66 is the most we've had in months, it looks like. It could have been the most we've had all year. I don't know what day we're on, what month. We're into April right here. Yeah, it looks like it could have been the most we had on any day this year. I thought we had some that were in the 70s, but I guess not. Yeah, this is January right here. So we had more trades today than we've had all year. And we probably had more stop outs today than we've had all year too, because we were only hitting about 78% or something like that this morning. Is this it? No. Let me go back here so we can see what's on the other side of it. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Here we are. We had 14 stop outs, 66 trades with 14 stop outs this morning. So we only had 78.79% of our trades were break even or better. We did have a few break evens this morning. Now the 14 stop outs, it was one thing that that slipped me from +4 to -2. I didn't count that as a stop out. But anyway, on the month now, we're at $18,680 per contract. That's over 13 trading days, averaging $1,436 per contract for 2-hour trading day. On the year, dramatic pause. That was not really a pause. On the year, we're at $272,137. It's over 217 trading days, averaging $1,254 per contract per 2-hour trading day. And that, on the year, that puts us at 22.721. Following the 24/20 blueprint, we exceeded this number today by $5, $5.50. That was what we had at the end of the 24/20 blueprint, all right? We started out with 13 contracts last year, and we stopped calculating after the end of August. So it was only the first 8 months, but it started out with 13 contracts. So I guess what I really want to illustrate is that trading with 10 contracts is much more efficient than trading with more than 10 contracts. Anyway, on the year, we traded just under 30 hours so far, be up $224,814 trading 12 contracts right now if you did everything exactly like I did. And you would have average $7,527 per hour. So we eclipsed that number. I was hoping we were going to do that by the end of the year. I didn't think we were going to be able to, but we still have a week and a half left, so we could get up even more. And we'll have a new record to try to achieve next year. Now, next year I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to start out with 10 contracts at the beginning of the year. I don't know if I'm going to make any big changes. This year we had a lot of big changes at the beginning of the year. Yeah, we started out with 10 contracts. We changed the way that we're taking trades. We made some changes this year because the last bunch of years, leading up until this year, I honestly hadn't been focusing so much on making money for me as showing people how to do it. So we did it different this year. Anyway, next year we're going to do it the same way. So the trades that we did take on the gold today, we had a ton of trades everywhere. So I'm not going to go through the ones that we missed during the break. Okay, because we had just a ton of trades everywhere. So I'm just going to scroll back to the beginning on each one of these and go over the trades that we took. Okay. All right, so on the gold, we'll show all 4 of these right here. We had a +1, then a +5, then we stopped out. That put us at -9. Then we had a +8, put us at -1. Then we stopped out, put us at -16, a +1 to -15, a +1 to -14. Then we had a good trade over here, a +21 that got us up to 7. Then a +1 got us to 8. Then we stopped out again, put us at -7. Another +1 right there. That's highlighted because it didn't come out of the overbought right there. Put us at -6. And then we got a +7. Put us at +1. Then a +2 to get us to 3. a plus 10 to get us to 13, and there's a plus 5 somewhere that got us up to 18 at the end. And that was it on gold. Okay, I'm not going to go through everything we missed during the break on the gold, but I will check and see if we have a trade set up right now. Let me move this out of the way and that out of the way and that out of the way so I can take trades if I do see any coming up. And let me open up the question box so I can answer any questions. You did have questions in there. That was the Dwayne, though. Okay, so we don't have a trade here right now. All right, that was gold today. Now the YM just had my butt all morning. It whooped me. We'll go back to the beginning on the YM. Our high of the day on the YM was 5 ticks. And that was at the very beginning. It was never back to positive after we got the 5 ticks. At the very beginning back here. Okay. You know, when it gets like this and it's out of view, you just double left click over here. It'll center it for you. So on the YM, oh, maybe we never did get positive. Okay, for some reason I thought that was a 5. We were minus 14 right there. Then we're minus 15 on the very first trade. Seems like I should add my stop at break even, but I didn't. Then we got 1 tick there that got us to minus 14. Then we stopped out again, put us at minus 29. Then we went from minus 29 to minus 28. So I had 1 tick there. Then we stopped out again. Now I highlighted this one in orange because how the heck did I stop out on that? But I did. And that put us at minus 43. I got 1 tick there to minus 42. Then I went from minus 42 to minus 26. That was, I think, our best trade of the day on the YM. Went to minus 26 there. Then I picked up 10 ticks there to minus 16. I really thought we were on a comeback there, but then the wheels fell off again. We stopped out on that one, went from minus 16 to minus 31. Then we stopped out on that one, went to minus 46. And then on this one right here, which wasn't a valid trade, I had the order on, but I picked up, now from minus 46, we went to minus 34. So we picked up 12 ticks on that, it looks like. Now it didn't come off the midpoint right there, but I had an order on. I was waiting for this bar here to close up, and I had the order on right there. And when this one closed up, it gapped up, and it took me before I could take the order off and cancel the order. It just swallowed me up and gave me 12 ticks. And that was it for the YM. So we ended up with minus 34 on the YM this morning. All right. Not exactly this day. The NQ is in a position to go down right now. It looks like when you see that 200 range rose to the BBC, that means it's going up and finding resistance at the BBC. Okay, more than likely. If I go to the 200 range on this, oops, that was the MNQ. MNQ. Oops, try that again. MNQ. And go to the H contract and we'll go to a 200 range. And we'll see if that's what it was doing. Okay, so the MNQ, it wasn't on the H contract that it gave that though. I think it was on the Z. Let's just go and look. Just says MN, yeah, it does the Z contract right there. It was on the Z contract. So I'm gonna check that on the MNQ. Do it again. Look on the Z contract. I'm gonna have to go back and look at all those alerts and make sure they're on the right month. Here it is right here. So it was a notification that it's going back up to the BBC, looking for an opportunity to drop. Now the BBC is not even on there, but here's the BBC. Okay, so that's what it was saying. Right there, it went up and hit the BBC. So it's at a point where it found resistance and it should push down. Now, let's go back where we were on the H contract in the 19 range and a little sidetrack there. Now we'll do the ES. All right, on the ES, we go back to the review. Well, there were a lot of bars there during the break. I'm still thankful that I found this out, that I can just hold down the button and go like that. Scrolling back page by page, screen by screen would take it forever. All right, so on the ES, we started out with minus 10 ticks. That's why it ended up taking so long to get the gold this morning. Well, so long, it took 7 minutes. But we started out with a stop out there on the ES. And then we stopped out again on the ES. So we're at minus 20 at that point. We picked up 4 there to get us to minus 16. Then we picked up 14 there to get us to minus 2. then we stopped out down to minus 12. And we picked up 8 to get us to minus 4. A couple of break-even trades. Another break-even trade. And then we went from minus 4 to 0. That was our high of the day on the S. Went from minus 4 to 0. And then we stopped out again, went to minus 10, and then we got 2 ticks there to get us to minus 8. And that is where we ended up with the ES this morning. Okay, let's go all the way to the end and see if we have anything going on right now. We do not. Do not. Okay, that one. Now the NQ, we had a ton of trades on the NQ and a ton of bars. So this is probably going to take a minute to scroll all the way back here. So an ounce of silver could buy a barrel of oil and still have trade, and still have money left over. That's what Mike Laura was just saying. Look at all these bars. That is a ton of opportunity in there. All right, so here we are. Our first trade on the NQ, and this is where we got the goal for the day. We had 45 ticks on that trade. All right, next trade, I'm going to try to keep this straight and not take too long. But we picked up 4 ticks there to get us to 49, 4 ticks there to get us to 53, 4 ticks there to get us to 57. We had a lot of those 4 tick trades because my stop kept going to +4 and it kept coming back to take me out. Then we went from 57 to 61, another 4 tick trade. And finally we had something more than 4 ticks. From 61 to 77, then 77 to 81, another 4 tick trade. Then 81 to 85, another 4 tick trade. 85 to 89, another 4 tick trade. And that one right there, I made it a different color because that was supposed to take me out at +4. And when it took me out, that was one I mentioned earlier. When it took me out, it actually slipped me 6 ticks, and I ended up -2 on that. So we went from 89 to 87 right there. And then from 87, we went to 95. 95 to 103, 103 to 107, 107 to 116, 116 to 161. Right here, this is 161. And from 161 to 165. 165 to 210. 210 to 214. 214 to 230. Hang on, there's something missing in here. From 230 to 275, 275 to 283, 283 to 310, and then we stopped out. I feel like I'm missing a stop out here. 165 to 210, 210 to 214, 214 to 230, 230 to 275, 275 to 283, 283 to 310, 310 to 314, 314 to 318. Okay, we did get the stop out in there. We went from 310 to 330, 314 to 318, 318 to 363, 363 to 368. That was the stop out. Went from 338 to 346, 346 to 350, 350 to 354, 354 to 358. So the stop out was in there. I'm just looking. There's a stop out there. There was another stop out in there somewhere. 3 to 107, 116 to 161, 161 to 165, 210 to 214 to 230 to 275 to 283 to 310. 214, 363, then we stopped out. Anyway, this is how we ended right here. I think that was our last trade. We got 8 ticks on that. 4 ticks on that. On the very last trade, we got 4 ticks. But that's not the last trade. Got all these other trades in here. And do we have any more on the NQ? No, we did not. All right, so it was a wild trading day. And today when I was placing trades on the NQ, one of the questions that kept coming up on the NQ was when it's moving so fast, how am I placing the trades? And it was moving so fast. It's not so much right now, but it was moving so fast this morning. It didn't have much of a spread. It still doesn't even have much of a spread. And it's kind of liquid. You don't see any gaps and you don't see a whole bunch of ones everywhere, but it was moving around so fast. And so one of the questions this morning was how am I managed to put the trades on? And I wanted to point out one thing. You know, when it's like this, when the DOM is like this, it doesn't matter what time frame you're on. That doesn't change the DOM. Okay, you can have fewer trades, fewer bigger trades, but it doesn't change the DOM. You're still gonna have the same kind of fills on the DOM. What I was doing most of the morning is I'd see a trade coming up, and if I knew when the bar closed, you know, like let's say I knew when the bar closed it was going to be a short trade, I would just have my cursor here in the red, and I'd wait till the bar closed and wait for it to pull back just a tiny bit so I could nail it when it pulled back just a tiny bit. And then that would put me at the best ask. Okay, that's how I was doing it this morning, and that's how I was entering most of my trades. So I was getting some of the fills were better and some of them were not, and I was getting a ton of slippage this morning. So like right here, right now, if we get a down close on this bar, it's going to be a short trade. Now I don't have the time, really, the aptitude right now to do the math on it. And now it's too far away. But if it would have given us a short there, if it would have given us a down close straight from here, then on the down close, I would have had my cursor right here. And if it pulled back just 1 or 2 ticks, I would have clicked on it right there and it would have put me at the best ask. Okay, that's how I was entering the trades when it was moving around so fast this morning. And that one was too far away, so it didn't end up being a trade. But I'll put it over here again. I don't know if Jimmy's in here. Jimmy, this is what you wanted me to do this morning, I think. But it was just going too fast this morning. It slowed down a little bit. So I can try to do it right now. But, well, let me slide that over. Okay. So right now we have we don't have anything that we can do right here. We need an up close followed by a down close is what we need. So there's the up close. Now we need an immediate down close, right? So I'm going to put my cursor right here. If it closes down, it's going to be a trade. If it closes down, it's going to be a trade. Closes up, it's going to be too far away. Closes down, I'm going to look for a pullback. Okay, it closed up, now it's too far away. But that's how I was doing it this morning. What I was showing you right there is how I was doing it this morning. I'd be waiting for the trade, and if it closed down, I'm not going to take a trade here, but right there, I would wait for it, then right here, I would click it, and I would enter right in here, a little bit better than the actual entry point. All right, that wasn't an actual trade because it wasn't low enough, but that's how I was doing it this morning. Because I know sometimes you guys see the DOMs flying all around. I'm taking all these trades and you're wondering how the heck I'm getting fills on those or how I'm even putting the order on. That is how I was doing it this morning. Okay. All right. So I haven't taken a single trade yet in this session. Everything is in the red and everything is not giving us a trade. Well, this is in green, but everything's not giving us a trade right now. This is too far away. It's not going to give us a trade on the YM. The ES is too far away. It's not going to give us a trade and it didn't complete the cycle. The gold didn't complete the cycle from back here, so nothing after that matters on the short side. Okay. Wow. Lots of words. I have been talking nonstop. Seems like, okay, so here we are on the NQ. Now, I missed that NQ. I didn't have it ready. I put it on too late, and there it is. See, not filled. I'm going to cancel it right now. Cancel. I put it on too late. Now, it never pulled back either, so if I was waiting there with my cursor on it, when it closed up, it never came back down and gave me a better entry, so I wouldn't have taken that trade that way either. Okay. The only way to get that is to have done the math and have your order waiting right there. And I didn't do either one of those. But right now, on this one, if we get a down close, we need a down close, 2 down closes actually. Now a down close will put us in the oversold. Okay, so we're in the oversold. Now we just need the up close. Ding, right there. Okay, I'm long. And that one didn't have a pullback though. That's not the greatest entry. I'm off by 3 ticks on that entry. That's not bad, being off by 3 ticks. I think that's going to stop me out, maybe, maybe not. It hasn't gone into profit yet, so not enough to bump the stop. It's got to go 10 ticks into profit to bump the stop. It should get up here to 23.50. It should get up right there, and that would be just enough to get the stop to bring it to plus 4 ticks. Nope, it's going to stop me out. Okay, so that is our first trade, and that wasn't really even a valid trade because the midpoint wasn't flat. So I'll make that an orange one. That's kind of a screw up. Go down here and enter that in on the NQ. Minus 25, today's date, 12/17. And go over here and say number of trades 1, number of stops 1. Okay. And copy this down to there. 0%. Hopefully we'll get that right back. There's a trade over here on gold that I didn't see. That's a nice trade right there. This is not going to be a trade here because we didn't complete the cycle on the YM. All right, the NQ could give us another shot at it here. It might give us another shot at it here. Gold didn't continue the trend. It didn't push that line up. So it didn't continue the trend. The NQ is almost giving us another trade. Almost. And there it is. Hey, I got that one. Now my stop's at plus 4. Go to plus more than 4. I mean 17.75. Okay, so 17.75 up to 22.75. That's 20 ticks. So this is now minus 5. And this is 2. Okay. That was a screwed up trade, that last one. This one was not. The gold's not a trade, the YM's not a trade, the S is not a trade. The NQ did not finish the cycle, right there. So it's not a trade. And so we just wait. It's 126. We're down just a little bit right now. So it won't take much to get us where we want to be. This is nothing right here. It's got to finish the cycle and get into the overbought. After coming out over here, it's got to finish the cycle, get all the way into the overbought, and then pull back. Okay. I got some slippage on that one too. I was able to take some profit nonetheless. That one didn't really pull back. All right, so now we're looking for shorts over here. And that's where I think we're going to be able to get a trade. Over here on the gold, we almost have another trade here, but you see how it didn't put in a higher swing after this last one. The blue dropped down. It did not put in a higher swing. Watch the NQ for a bounce down off the midpoint right now. Okay, now it needs to hit the midpoint and give us a down close right now. My finger, here, bring it over here. Right, okay, now we just need the down close. Just need the down close. Okay, this down close will still work right now, I think. There it is. Okay, I didn't get filled in there. I'm filled. Okay. So now there are my stops at plus 4. And we only got 4. Right, so that puts us currently at minus 1 on the NQ. And 3 trades now. Okay. The ES actually has a trade right there too. I did not notice the ES trade. The gold needs to close down and then close up. Okay, the NQ did do a full cycle. It needs to close up and then it'll be too far away, I think. I don't know, it's really close. The NQ is coming together really close. It has to close up and then immediately move down. If it closes up and goes up anymore, it's not going to be a trade. It closed down. Didn't give us what we were looking for. The gold didn't close down either to get into the oversold to finish the cycle. Now the NQ and up close probably flipped the YBR, so we won't be worrying about anything over there. Yes, it's still struggling. I didn't notice this was a trade here on the YM right here. You can still do it. It hasn't. Well, no, you can't. I guess you could. I don't know. I didn't. YM has had my butt all day, so I'm in no hurry to take a trade on the YM that I didn't get exactly right. Okay, the ES is starting to go now. And that stop is at break even with that at +2, +4, +6, +8, +12. And that's not 12. That was 12. 10. I don't know. I gotta go look. I don't know what I got on that. 11. It was 97.50 down to 94.75. So that was 11 on the ES. That there. And this is a 4. Back in here. The NQ is about to have another trade. Needs a down close right now. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Waiting. Bam. Pop. Now it's got the pullback right here. This is where you want to go. Right here. Right now. All right. I end up with 4. Okay. So there's 4 more there. We had a good one there. I didn't get anything over here or here. The YM gave another one. The YM gave that one. I didn't want to do. The YM gave this one. That was exactly the way it should be, and I didn't do that one either. So let's go back in here. This is now +3. This is now 5. Sorry, 80% of our trades. This should be green. All right, what time is it? Oh, it's 1:31. Man, where did all the time go? All right, I guess we'll wrap it up there. That was kind of fun. We managed to get 5 trades off, and we had like, how many minutes did we do that in? I think today it was about 14 minutes, I think, today. That's kind of fun.
It was 14.
Good. All right, so here we go. This is how we're going to end this 14-minute session. 5 trades with 1 stop out. In 14 minutes, +3 on the NQ, +11 on the ES. We didn't trade anything else. That puts us at $1,575 with 10 contracts, or $152 with 1. So it is the goal for the day. Now, this number should have gone up. This should be a 17. Right, so is that right, Michael R? That number divided by 17. I think it should be right. 20,050 divided by 17. Number 7. Yep, that's right. Okay, that's all good. All right, so this is what we're averaging in this session in the time frame that we have. Over 17 sessions, we're averaging the goal for the day, $117 per contract. So again, if you don't get any of the morning stuff, or if you don't even have the indicators and just want to come and watch and trade with us in the afternoon session, this part is always free. And so far, since we started keeping track of it, the last 17 sessions, we're up $20,050 with 10 contracts, or $2,005 with 1 contract, averaging $1,179 with 10 contracts per session, or $117 with 1 contract per session. If you've not taken the free trial, go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button. There is no credit card required for the trial. Click on that purple button. It's going to bring you to this registration page. Just fill out the form. Once you fill out that form, you'll be sent everything you need to get into the room in the morning. Okay? All right. And that's it. There's another trade right here on the yes. And there was one here on the YM. That would stop me out. And that's it. With that, I can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, in Studio Way, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Wayne, if you are ready.
Okay, recap of the session.
Today it took 7 minutes and 4 trades to get to $1,600.
Great job.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, we covered all the indices. We covered just any part of the podcast. As soon as I sign off, you can go to youtube.com/CFRN and watch today's broadcast in its entirety. Made it all the way up to gold. Here's where gold last night, the beginning of the Wednesday session, 6 p.m. Eastern. And we were above the BBC, so we're expecting higher prices. We got to the long target by 8:30 Eastern. Run into resistance right there. Send us back to the BBC. Back holds, not. So then we get a big leg. Takes us up. Now, yesterday's high is based off the previous day's bearish cross. Got out by a little bit today. This move. That sent us all the way back down to the zone. Bounced us up to the long target. Resistance. Sent us back down to the zone. Support. 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 Red and falling turns to blue and climbing. And we make it all the way up to zone at 4378/79. And then we get tracement. Another leg up to the zone. Tracement back to the BC. And we get another leg that takes us all the way up that zone again. 78/79. Now, at a doji here, sort of consolidating. Looks like price wants to once again revert to the mean or back to the BC. We know the pullback holds more often than not, but eventually it will. This be the time. Time will tell. And silver. We opened last night. And by 8 o'clock, we had reached the long target. Remember, it only takes 2 pennies in silver to go for. And all the way up to zone at 65/66. Resistance sends the support leg, and then we get a deep retracement. All these right here, 3 candles touching the BBC. So this pullback held. Just all these candles. Got a rally. 11:30. London markets closed. It was up to the high of the day at 67.18. This is now pulled back to the weekly trading zone. This holds, then we've got resistance here. So we have potential support at climbing. Potential support at the BBC. At this area right. Then you're at the top side of the long term. That brings us back to daily chart of the bellwether, the S&P. Okay. Beginning of the broadcast, I've drawn this horizontal line. You sticking up and a wick sticking down. You put your cursor right between the two. It's a good area for the market to find support. And so far, it is. Now, if we break that support area, next area is going to be right here, roughly 67 at 67.15, and possibly 66.18, 67. Remember, we had a double bottom across here. This candle spiked it, closed well above. This is definitely a strong area for potential support. 66.15. If the market get through all these potential support. Today's only Wednesday, and it could. So, to become a member, email Valerie, support@cfrn.net. Let her know you want to become a member. She'll send you all the information you need to get signed up. If you're an official member, a passport holder, you get 2 hours of live training every day. It's an interactive environment. Trades in real time, real money, asking questions, technology, trading along in your demo account, qualify to go live. On top of the 2 hours of live training every day as a group, you also have access to private one-on-one mentoring. No extra charge, all you got to do is ask. The strategy you learn, the indicators you use as a passport holder, put across all markets and all stocks, futures, crypto, ETF, doesn't matter. Price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. Support, resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over again and again. Never-ending cycle. Passport holder, you get the Logic 247 alerts around the clock. That's what will teach you how to read the chart. Concierge trade alerts every evening, 5 minutes ahead of the Globex Open Eastern. Every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, you'll get trading zones for the. Once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week, change in any way whatsoever. And every Thursday night, you'll be able to attend the members-only workshop. Plus, you get the gold keys that open all the private channels in town. Everything a trader needs under one roof. Email Valerie, support@cf.net. Valerie, send you all the information you need. Good word for the day. New resurrection body, part 1. 1 Corinthians 15:38. God gives it a body as he has determined. Benjamin Franklin, who was a printer, epitaph his grave. And even though it never ended up on his tombstone, it's been passed down in history. Its cleverness and wisdom. Body of Benjamin Franklin, printer. Like the cover of an old book. Its contents torn out and script stripped of its lettering gilding. Lies here. Burns. Work shall not be lost, for it will, as he believed, appear once more, in a new and more elegant edition, revised and corrected by the author. Wonderful way to describe what's going to happen to us someday. Apostle Paul used seeds as a metaphor. Someone will ask, how are the dead raised? What kind of body will they come? How foolish. So does not come to life till it dies. So you do not plant the body that will be just a seed, perhaps of wheat or of something else. But God gives it a body as He has determined. A pastor explains, when you plant your garden, you may toss a kernel of corn into the furrow and cover it. When it comes out of the ground, it will be the same in essence. What comes out of the ground is not the kernel, it's the whole stalk. It's much bigger, much better, and much more impressive. And your new resurrection body will be as superior to your old body as the stalk is superior to the seed. It will be a body specifically designed for everlasting. That's our good word today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Wherever you are, God continue to richly bless you. Mercy, His grace. I'll see you well.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.